Hi, how are you on this wonderful Sunday evening? It's a bit cold outside. I don't know where you are, this is where I am, it's a bit cold outside. Well, first I want to say thank you for the comments that I did get because they were really good and exactly what I was talking about. They all mentioned things that I probably would have thought about if I'd had more time, but, or maybe not, but they were really good. So I'd like to at least start there because I thought they were interesting. And they will lead to the question of the night, which is, let's see, the first one that stood out was Roberta. Thank you, Roberta. Let's see. She had said that if one is planning a goal, it's always a good idea to have several. However, we do need to realize that with the shortage of work positions in many areas, that may not be possible. Okay, just taking a snippet of what she said. I agree. I think that when you're trying to find your path to what you want, it's good to think of alternatives because you never know, end up exactly where we think we are going to end up. But along the road, you might end up somewhere that ends up being a pleasant surprise. For myself, what some of you may not know, and some of you do, is that I have been a makeup artist in the motion picture industry for quite some time. It's how I make my money to pay for my records. But anyway, and in doing that, I was in the record industry before that, working at record labels. And when I got laid off, I was steadily looking for a job in the music industry. And the exact weekend I got laid off, I did my first video as a makeup artist, which actually came about because before I worked at a record label, I've had a lot of jobs. I had a cosmetology license, which I didn't like to use because I just really didn't enjoy doing hair. I had fun getting the license. I kind of liked doing hair. I didn't like being in a salon. That's just my reality. I didn't like it. I was good at it, had clients. I just didn't like being there. Mainly because a lot of times, as some of you know, salons, barbershops can be a bit on the negative side. A little too gossipy, a little too busy. It just didn't work for me. Okay, neither here nor there. So I went into the record industry and worked in the A&R department at a couple of labels. And so the first weekend I was laid off, I got a phone call and someone said, "Don't you do hair? Come down, help me out. My hairstylist didn't show up." When I got there, the hairstylist showed up and the girl I was working for said, "Well, don't go home, stay and be assistant makeup." So I did. And she called me 3 weeks later, and I was assistant makeup again. But I met a girl who said, "Hey, can I throw you my crumbs? I live in San Diego. I don't want to drive up all the time. I'll just throw you a few people when I don't want to drive up." Well, one of her crumbs ended up being BET. So for a couple of years, I was one of the main makeup artists over at BET, and I did the first season of Comic View. So I started doing these videos and these TV shows, never thinking about it. I was at the time still interviewing at record labels. I had even started interviewing at the airlines to be a flight attendant. And about 9 months in, I got a call to go do a video in Estapa, Mexico. And it was the same weekend that they were supposed to call me for my airline interview. You go on all these interviews and then there's that last phone call, and when they call you, you're supposed to go straight to the airport. Well, it was the same weekend, so a friend of mine's mother said, "Look, forward your phone to my house and you go do that video and make that money because you don't want to sit here and not make money and then they don't call." So I said, "Oh, okay, I'll do that." Well, I went to Estapa, did the video, had a wonderful time, and they never called. When I got home, I had 7 checks sitting there, and it was at that moment, 9 months after leaving the record label, that I realized I was a makeup artist. And I was actually having a good time, and having such a good time, I didn't notice I was doing it. So that kind of goes back to the point they were saying. I just happened to have other skills, and those skills led me somewhere else that I was able to have a lot of fun. It paid for my music, it helped me get my music into the movies that I got it into. I met a lot of interesting people, I traveled. There are a lot of wonderful things that came out of me, that one incident. But it wasn't the path I chose. The path I was choosing was to go work at another label. And even in this moment, as I say that, I've recently watched myself doing one thing, and it occurred to me a few days ago that it was time for a change. So sometimes the crossroad is really because it's time for the upgrade. It's time to move to the next thing. And we're so busy holding on to what we know, we're getting in our own way of the new and wonderful thing waiting for us. So I think that maybe the question for the night is for all of you that may be sitting there trying to figure out what the next path or what the next direction is or what it is you desire. Is it possible that you could be getting in your own way? Or are you missing your signs? So that's the question. Are you getting in your own way, and are you the questions? Are you getting in your own way, and are you aware of the signs? So ponder on that. And yeah, I like that. So, and thanks, keep the comments coming, because you never know who can benefit from what you have to say. Have an incredible week, Stay warm, because I know it's getting cold. I don't know where everybody else is, but it's getting cold here. So stay warm, be safe, have a wonderful week, love and blessings. Oh yes, happy birthday to those whose birthdays today and tomorrow, and have a good one. Good night.